Hey all, this is Paramashivam. Okay, in this video, I will give one tips. Okay, one tips how to design the Elasticsearch indexes or schema. Okay, so this is for performance tips. Okay, this is exactly performance tips. So we call this a schema on read and a schema on write, right? Okay, so everybody know that schema on read and write is there. Okay. Okay, what is schema on write? Okay, means exactly we define the schema, that means how many fields are there, what is the data type each fields. Okay, so that is what called schema on write. Okay, so we before to write our index data, okay, it is completely parsed and completely each field is separated. So each field is sit inside the its own data type, its own things. Okay, its own container in fact. Okay, so that is what in schema on write. So the advantages is when you completely parse, let's say you have log statements. Okay, let's say you have some of the log statements and you want to parse all the individual fields of the logs, then obviously parsing has to happen. Though parsing it can be done either log stash pipeline or using RAG filter, or we can do parsing using processor in the ingest pipeline, something like that. Okay, so anyhow, so we have to do parse that and once that parsed, we can index in appropriate field within the index. Okay, so let's say our log statement can have 5 fields. Okay, obviously I can parse into the 5 field and put into the 5 separate field. Some field timestamp, some field relates to text, some field related to numbers, something like that. Okay, or some fields related to number like status code, something like that. Okay, so the advantages is whenever I have more option to query. Okay, I can use range on numbers, I can use groups on strings. Okay, I can use for full search text. Okay, this is the advantage. So obviously only one time we are going to parse, only one time we are going to parse the log statement, and after that either I'll let it aggregation or let it fetching or let it query, and we have a lot of benefits. But the disadvantages is, so the parsing has to be happen, right? So to mitigate that, either we can use log stash, more than one instance of log stash. Okay, either we can use more than one instance of log stash or file B, something like that, or we can have separate ingest node in our Elasticsearch cluster. Okay, so separate ingest node. So that's how we can mitigate, but at the same time we will get more benefit, more processing speed. Okay, more analysis. Okay, so that is the advantage. That is the advantage of schema on write. What is mean of schema on read? So what is now, we will not do parsing any log statement or any metrics. Okay, as much as possible. We will simply put timestamp and the message, complete message in a one field. So here what is there is no performance or computing involved parsing on the each field of log statement. Okay, let's assume again that field log statement has 5 fields. Okay. Again the storage is simply relatively less. Okay, relatively less, and the disadvantage is when we query to look into some fields, we have to parse or we have to filter the logs message on every read. Let's say if at the same times, if you are going to index only one times, and very rarely we are going to query that data, means that is well and good. So schema on read is best. Okay, the log state or any indexed document is read very rare. Let's say once in a week, something like that. Na? So now obviously schema on read is best. So, okay, so there is no parsing computing involved, or okay, and tokenizing is does not involved. So analyzer no need to work that much. Okay, and of course storage side also is really benefit. So but obviously what is now, whenever we ingest some data, we often query. Okay, we often query for watcher to identify any threshold or to identify any anomalies has happened or not, something like that, right? So obviously we will run for every 10 minutes some of the query at least. So but in some cases there is very rare read, means obviously we can go for schema on read. Okay, schema on read means, so only during the querying that time, so that times we will parse the tokenize the message and do aggregation or something like that. That is called, we call it script on field. Okay. So that is what schema on read, schema and schema on write. So this is the one of the performance tips in the Elasticsearch. Okay, thank you, thanks for watching. So, okay, if you like the content, please give a like and leave your comment and questions in the comment sections. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe as well.